Don't let YouTube decide what information you get. That's your choice. YouTube is deleting our videos and cuts you off from a source of honest reporting. Make sure you don't lose access to NTD's news content, and take a quick moment to subscribe to our newsletter so no matter what happens here, you'll keep your access to a trustworthy news source.
President Biden disbanded the Trump-era 1776 Commission on his first day of office. The group's aim was said to celebrate and promote patriotic education. Now they're starting up again, this time in a non-government capacity. NTD's Christina Kim speaks to one of its members.
The 1776 Commission is urging the Biden administration to drop its proposal to fund history and civics programs that promote critical race theory or related curricula under the misleading name of anti-racism. The Trump-appointed advisory panel, which was disbanded on President Biden's first day in office, since reconvened for the first time at Hillsdale College in Washington, D.C. Critics of the group say America is systemically racist, and they call the findings of the group racist and political, not historical. NTD spoke to Dr. Carol Swain, a retired political science professor and a member of the commission. She makes a distinction about the aim of the group to promote unifying patriotic education.
We're not trying to cover up America's past and the fact that we have made mistakes when it comes to race relations, but the true story of America is a nation that's always striven to become better.
Dr. Swain says curricula like critical race theory are divisive and anti-American, and that ultimately this division serves the interest of America's enemies. For one, she says, people wouldn't want to join the military to protect a nation that is thought to be fundamentally evil. The 1776 Commission aims to counter this and rebuild Americans' common bonds, mutual friendship, and civic devotion.
What we're pushing is much closer to Dr. Martin Luther King's vision, where people would be judged by the content of their character and not the color of their skin. America is not supposed to be a nation where we single out any group because of their race or their ethnicity and demonize them, for the color of their skin.
She says ultimately, education belongs at the local level. And moving forward, the commission seeks to help facilitate grassroots efforts.
One of the things we hope to do is to have a website and a way of communicating with groups that they can come and we can be a resource to them. But yes, the change has to happen at the grassroots.
She encourages other states to set up their own 1776 Commission as a way to study the true history of America and encourage patriotism. The commission urges parent groups to join school boards and local activists to fight back against children being taught false narratives. Christina Kim, NTD News.
And according to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, only about 2% of the millions of Americans who served in World War II are still alive today. NTD's Sapphire Quarter brings us one of their stories.
Slave and gay, I always think of you that way.
World War II vet Louis Imfeld was born in 1922. He enlisted in the Marines soon after Pearl Harbor at just 19 years old. In the Pacific, he fought at Guadalcanal in the first major battle the Allies started with the Japanese. He says he can still remember what it was like to be in battle.
I didn't particularly care for it.
He served 2.5 years and was ready for a second tour when the U.S. dropped the atomic bombs, ending the war. After he returned home, he met his wife, Lois. They were married for 66 years, until she passed away 2 years ago. While speaking with him, his humility and gentle acceptance of the world struck me. He says he was very proud of his service, what he calls the little he was able to do for his country.
I really have had a life which I enjoyed and consider myself a very fortunate person.
I asked him what his advice is for the younger generation.
Get a job and behave yourself. That's what they told me.
For his 99th birthday, his local community drove a parade of golf carts past his home to honor him and say thank you for his service. Sapphire Quarter, NTD News.
Hundreds of U.S. local governments and schools are still buying surveillance products from blacklisted Chinese tech companies. This despite a federal ban. Here are the details.
Local-level government organizations in the U.S. are still buying surveillance products from 2 blacklisted Chinese companies. According to government contract data, more than 300 government organizations, such as cities, counties, towns, and schools, have purchased from China's Hikvision and Dahua Technology after the federal government had banned them. Pennsylvania-based video surveillance research firm IPVM reviewed the deals based on government contracts that a Florida tech company obtained. The U.S. Commerce Department added the 2 Chinese companies to its blacklist in October 2019. It was for their role in supporting the Chinese Communist regime's human rights abuses in China's Xinjiang region. Beijing has been abusing ethnic and religious minorities in Xinjiang through torture, forced sterilizations, political indoctrination, and forced labor. The U.S., the UK, Canada, and the Netherlands have denounced the abuses as genocide. In March this year, the U.S. Federal Communications Commission designated Hikvision and Dahua as companies that pose a threat to national security. 3 other Chinese companies also received the same designation. They are tech firms Huawei, ZTE, and Hytera Communications.
3 House lawmakers introduced a bipartisan bill. It would impose a ban on companies sponsoring the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics.
House Republican Mike Waltz and 2 Democrat representatives, Tom Malinowski and Jennifer Wexton, introduced the Beijing Winter Olympics Sponsor Accountability Act. The bill would ban companies that sponsor the Beijing Olympics from selling their products or services to the federal government or in U.S. federal buildings, including military bases. The ban would only be lifted on a company if it drops its sponsorship or the games are relocated out of China. Malinowski tweeted that he doesn't think it's right to hold the Olympics in a country where the government is committing genocide. Waltz wrote in a statement, "We need to leverage the resources of the U.S. government to encourage these businesses to do the right thing and press the IOC to relocate the games from China." Waltz also introduced a resolution in February calling on the U.S. to boycott the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics unless the games are relocated. The games are scheduled to start on February 4th, 2022. Its sponsors include Coca-Cola, Airbnb, Intel, and Visa.